Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Crew Chats with Jen. I have a very special guest here again today. I have Teresa Taylor, my teammate, is here today for another interview. So, do you want to say hi, Teresa? Introduce yourself.
Hello. My name is Teresa. I have been on the rowing team for 3 years now, and I'm studying cognitive science with a specialization in neuroscience. Um, I've kind of I started rowing in college, in college. So it's kind of me and Jen were on the same route pretty much as far as rowing, so it was pretty cool. But I'm super excited to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, Teresa and I were in the same novice class. We joined back in 2018. So we've been on this whole journey together. It's been awesome. Do you want to talk about kind of your athletic background and how that ended up leading you into rowing?
Yeah, for sure. Um, for I don't know how I ended up here because when I was before high school, I was not athletic at all. I was a chunky kid. High school, I decided to join the women's basketball team. My mother forced me to join,
Oh my
essentially.
gosh.
I was forced to join the basketball team. And I actually ended up sticking with that for 4 years. Um, but my sophomore year, I tore my ACL. So I had to get surgery. I took a year off. Well, a year off. I was there, but I just couldn't play. And then once I graduated high school, I was like, well, I want to continue doing a sport because I think it's something that really is helpful as far as schedule regulation and health and just mental wellness. So I was like, I need to do a sport, but I, one, did not have the skills to do basketball, nor did I want to put my knees and body through 4 more years of college basketball. And also, I was looking at UC San Diego specifically for my major, which would mean that at the time we were Division 2, but I heard we were moving to Division 1, and I was like, bro, I can barely shoot a ball. I can't. That's not gonna happen. I couldn't dribble. I was just there to be a tree. Like I was just there to be a wall for everyone. So I was like, all right, no. So essentially, what ended up happening after that is I just reached out to. I did some research and then I emailed um, Kim and Colin. I think I emailed Kim first. But yeah, so I just talked to them and then I ended up on their own team as a walk on. Yeah.
Wow. So, yeah, like, when you emailed Kim, like, what did she tell you? Cause I never did that. I just kind of heard about it from the website.
Yeah, I think I was like, I think I already knew that the recruiting season was already over, so I was kind of
Mm.
like, what are my options?
Uh-huh.
Because I don't know anything about this. I wasn't even really considering rowing or like an official sport until like a month ago, so I
Uh-huh.
kind of didn't know. And she essentially was like, "Yeah, you're always welcome. Um, you like we have a ton of walk-ons." She made sure to tell me that like the not like the UC San Diego team usually has a really good mix of walk-ons, which is true. So it was actually like really refreshing. And she pretty much was like, "Yeah, once you're on campus, just link up with us and keep track of like when we're doing info sessions and stuff, and I can help get you information if you need it." And it was pretty much just like saying, "Yeah, you can still join if you're not recruited," which is nice.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering like what kind of put rowing into your mind or like why rowing if you didn't know a lot about it.
Yeah, I always liked sailing and
Mhm.
I liked water sports. I wasn't not swimming or anything, but ocean type sports. Um, and I think it was like randomly my dad was talking to me. This is a theme throughout my life. My parents have forced me into a lot of stuff or like encouraged me heavily, and I love them for it. But my dad was like, because he knew I was looking into like sports to do, and he was like, "Have you considered rowing?" And I was like, "Not really. Why?" He's like, "Well, I was talking to someone who at work who I think he either like has a daughter who rows or he rows himself. I don't know." But he was talking to him, and they started talking about the sport, And the guy's like, yeah, it's kind of tough. You gotta be like 6'2", pretty like strong build is what you really need to do well. And my dad's like, funny you asked.
Yeah,
I
sounds
got a
like
kid
you.
like that. So he was like, you're an athletic kid, you just don't have hand-eye coordination for a ball sport, so maybe try rowing. Yeah, so he was like, you should check it out. And then I think I looked at some videos, and then I was like, oh, this looks really intense, but kind of cool.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because I remember, like, you know, when I joined the team, I, like, also didn't know, like, anything about rowing at all. The only, like, when I thought of rowing, I thought of people who were, like, very tall and very strong. And so when I first met you, I was like, oh, yeah, this is what, like, the stereotypical rower looks like.
Yep.
And it's a sport for anyone, but I think that's so funny how, like, your dad's friend was describing it and you were like, wow, that's me.
Yeah. So I was really lucky. My family was really lucky. My dad was really lucky to kind of have that conversation, because that was never even on my radar up until then.
Yeah.
And I kind of just I was like, why not?
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
So how did joining the sport, like, compare to your expectations? Or I guess, what did you expect?
I honestly don't know. I think I was really I always think it's going to be a lot more, like, intense, and I felt like, oh, I need to know stuff that I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was, like, worried about that. But it was actually, like, really nice being able to go into, like, the first couple practices, and they literally walked us through the stroke, like, piece by piece. It was really nice.
Yeah.
I just remember they gave us, like, what felt like a taste of what it was actually like in terms of the pain. Because Kim would have us, I think she had us, like, go up to the catch or, like, sit at the release and then just talk for, like, 2 minutes, and all of us are, like, dying trying to sit there.
And you're like, oh, my hips, my shoulders, I'm feeling so activated.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
I remember sitting there, and then Taylor was doing, like, the example, like, the model one on, like, the erg in front of us.
I remember this.
And we're all shaking, and she's, like, rock solid just sitting there, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Like, the next day, my shoulders were so sore from sitting up because I just had never had to, like, sit in that position for so long.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Honestly, my posture has improved tenfold since I've joined rowing.
Me too. Me too. Oh my gosh. It's so funny to, like, think back to those days. It feels like so long ago, but also, like, not at all.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
When you started rowing, did you feel like the connection to the sport was kind of instant, or do you feel like it took some time to develop a love for it?
I think at first, like, the first couple weeks, because I'm very much so a person that once I join something, unless I absolutely hate it, I'm kind of in it. So that's why, like, joining was such a big choice for me, because it's like, once I'm in, I'm giving 100%.
Yeah.
So I think the first couple of weeks was like, I don't want to disappoint the coaches, but, like, once we were on the water was when I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I really like this.
Yeah.
Because I've always been someone that likes being on the ocean, not in the ocean, because I don't like sand and stuff, but I like being on the ocean. That's nice.
Yeah. Do you remember, like, a specific moment where you felt like, oh wow, this sport is, like, really for me? Or if you don't have, like, a specific moment, I guess about, like, how long in did you feel like the sport was really for you?
I feel like a week or two in, even when we were still in the barge, but it felt as though we were progressing, even in the short amount of time that we had. And then I realized it's like, I'm waking up at like 4 a.m. for this. I like it. And I'm not, like, upset being up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
So I think that was kind of an indicator.
Wow. So it was very early on for you.
Yeah, it was pretty much like, because I already knew I liked the water, and it was just a matter of, I think it was a lot of the people factored in really heavily, because I think if the team doesn't feel like it's a good environment, I won't want to stick around. But pretty much immediately, I think I remember, who was it? I want to say Kiana, and I think Sid like came right up to me and started talking to me, which was like just a super cool experience, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's these people that actually like know a lot of stuff. They're so skilled, and they're coming talking to me and welcoming me. Wow. So yeah, it was kind of a cool experience like that.
That's pretty cool. That's sweet. I know you have told me that you're involved in like aquatic camps, like as a coach. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, it's not a rowing camp, but I worked for like 5 years, and I'm planning on working again once it reopens.
Okay, yeah.
I volunteered / worked at a sailing and kayaking camp out by where I live. I was a camper there originally, and then I became like an assistant counselor when I turned like 14.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was like you work with kids aged 9 to 14, and you teach them how you sail for half the day and you kayak for the other half. And the goal is essentially by the end of the week, the kids should be able to sail a boat by themselves, which is really, really, it feels cool when they can do that.
That is really cool.
And it's kind of like, it's honestly surprising how excited kids get when they like are actually legitimately interested in learning. It's a really fun experience.
Wow, that's super cool.
So it's like, you can't beat just being at the beach and being on the water for like 7 days a week, or no, not 7, 5 days a week.
Yeah, definitely. If you've been doing that since you were a kid, then that totally makes sense. You love the water. Did you grow up like near the water? Is there like a lake or like a beach nearby?
Let's see. Where I'm from, I'm like probably 40 minutes away, like 40 or 50 minutes away from like Malibu and that area around PCH.
Okay.
And then my parents used to go with our dogs, because they're Portuguese water dogs. So we used to do a lot of exercises like tapping into their instinct to like retrieve and do stuff with that, and it was essentially reenacting what they would do with fishermen. So we would drive up to Lake Castaic, which is I think like an hour or so away, but we would be at the lake like a lot of weekends, and then my family we would always drive PCH for fun, and we'd always like not necessarily go to the beach, but we would like to go kayaking and all that stuff. So it was kind of ever since I was a kid, I didn't like live next to the ocean, but I always ended up at the ocean. So
yeah. Is that like kind of a reason why you decided on San Diego as well?
Partially, yeah. I was between UC San Diego and Utah State.
Oh my gosh.
Middle of the mountains, Utah.
Yeah.
It's like the two extremes of things, like the two things that I like. I like mountains and I like the ocean, and I had to decide. But I don't think I would have handled winter well in Utah. I don't think I would have.
Yeah, as another native Californian, I don't think I could have handled that either.
Yeah.
You can't.
It's definitely
beat San
nice
Diego.
being able to wear shorts all year round.
Oh yeah. Okay, so let's talk about novice year. I guess just could you describe what it feels like to be a novice?
Oh man. I just remember, I think like one of the first times we went all 8 in the Novice 8 and the expectations, it was horrific. It was not set at all. It was just like a mess. And then we finished and we're like, wow, that was great.
Yeah.
It was like,
it was just great like, because you don't know anything else.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just like really cool. I think just in general, like the feeling of being a novice is like you know just enough to get yourself in trouble, but you don't know enough to get yourself out of trouble.
Oh yeah.
Essentially.
Oh yeah.
I just remember... just like you're just starting to get the hang of it. You don't really have boat feel yet, but it's like you're like, all right, I kind of get the vibes. I kind of get what we're going with this.
Yes. There are two things that Kim would always say. She would say, never let go of your handle because because you don't want to flip, you know?
Yeah.
And the other thing she would say is always put sunscreen on the top of your hands.
Yes.
That's another Kim tip. But okay, I also wanted to bring up something that happened like a couple weeks ago. So the two of us were in a 4 together, and we were with Lauren, who is another person who is in our novice class. And Kim, our novice coach, was in her launch near us, and she was saying, oh, you know, this brings me back to your guys' novice year. And I think either you or Lauren asked, like, do we still row like ham sandwiches? Which, for context, Kim would say, oh, you're rowing like a ham sandwich when people weren't rowing effectively. So, like, if you were missing water, like skying, something like that, she would say, you're rowing as well as a ham sandwich. So, I love that you had brought that up.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That was kind of crazy. It was like crazy thinking about it. It's like,
honestly.
Yeah, this is like the same people.
Yeah.
From years ago. It's awesome.
Yeah. I think, like, yeah, it definitely got me thinking about, like, oh wow, like, it's been a while, and like, I guess how have things changed for you since that first year?
I think a really big thing is, like, this year I want to try to, like, I've been wanting to try and support like freshmen as much as I can, and like new people. And of course it's really challenging during COVID, but it's like whenever, for instance, like the first time we were all as a team together erging together, I was like, oh heck yes, I'm gonna cheer so hard for everyone here. So excited. I think like, yeah, I think my novice year was like, I'm still trying to just figure out the dynamics and figure out like how to get around and what to do. And then this year it's like trying to fix, it's a lot more like head focused, because like, of course, like a lot of people, actually no, we don't have enough this year. Everyone on the team has like, they have rowing experience. They know the generic technique. They know what to do. But it's a lot of like getting in the right headspace to kind of put it all in the water, and then also like be able to take any criticism that you're given and be able to fix that and be adaptable. Oh my gosh. Colin's wearing off on me. He has said that so many times this year. It's amazing.
Oh yeah. I feel like that's been kind of the mantra for this year with COVID. And I mean, of course, even in non-COVID times, you have to be adaptable as a rower, but this year especially.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. When it was the night before our first water practice this year, and Colin still hadn't gotten full approval for having said practice, and we're like, maybe we'll go, hopefully. Yeah. Crazy. It's a crazy thought now. Think like Colin was saying at practice today, going from not being able to row at all to we're competing like soon, and it's kind of a crazy thought.
Yeah, like next week. Crazy.
Yeah, next week.
Yep. What do you think has stayed the same for you since that first year of rowing?
The technical problems I have.
Oh my gosh, no, not true. Not true at all. You've been killing it this year. I'm serious. I'm not just saying that. You've been killing it this year.
I mean, you have too. I think, in all honesty, I think probably just kind of the energy. Like, yeah, I think the energy. A lot of the stuff that I've joined in college, and the groups I've joined, I've kind of become a little bit jaded to. It kind of has lost its spark. Some of it's like, for instance, like some of the jobs I've had on campus, like for instance, an RA. I'm a second year RA, by the way. And it's like, first year, you're all bright-eyed and excited. And then second year, you're kind of seeing through some of the excitement and realizing some of the issues that is happening just within the team, and like things that need to be done. And it's like, I don't think I ever lost the energy and like intensity for rowing. I think I've always been like, doesn't matter, I'm gonna be up, I'm gonna be at practice because I want to do well and be there and be present.
Yeah.
And I think I just realized that. That's a revelation. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I just realized it. It's awesome.
Yeah. That's super awesome. I feel like you really, like, in the sport of rowing, we really need to be able to keep that spark and hold it with us, because it's so physically taxing and can be like mentally taxing as well. And so being able to bring that excitement with you like year after year is like, it's a huge accomplishment, and it's so exciting to like keep seeing like people coming back and like to have that community. So
yeah, I think also the fact that you have to be so connected with your team in the boat.
Yes.
I think is part of the reason, because it's a combo of, I want to do well for me, but also like I want to do well for the rest of my team and the rest of my boat.
Yeah.
And I want to push everyone else. And I think it's
yeah. Another thing that just made me think of is, I feel like every day is different when it comes to rowing, because like a lot of times we'll have like brand new lineups, so you kind of have to get the new boat feel every time you switch the lineups. But even if you're not in like a new lineup and you're kind of consistent, like I feel like every day is different, you know? So that does kind of help in like keeping it interesting. Like, I mean, I feel like no day is ever the same.
That's very accurate. Yeah. When I was back in basketball, it'd be same drills every day, maybe one thing different. And I mean, yeah, that's true. Because you're at the mercy of nature half the time with rowing. So.
Honestly, with like the wind, the currents, whoever else is out there, fishermen, like wakeboarders, whatever. Yeah. So let's talk about some things that you've learned about yourself through rowing. I guess, what is your favorite thing about rowing?
Favorite thing about rowing? I sound so cheesy when I tell people about this, and also like they never understand because it doesn't make any sense. But I always get so excited when we're in an 8 and we're going at full press and we're all connected and all locked on, and you start to hear the bubbles underneath the boat.
Oh my
gosh. That's like the one thing I remember the first time I was like in a boat that was running really well, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. Wow. And I tell everyone that, and they're like, how does the boat do that? What are you talking about? And I'm like, it does. I promise.
Wow. I've literally never thought of that, but I'm gonna look out for that next time, because wow, that's super cool. I guess on the flip side, what is your least favorite thing about rowing?
Well, I said I was a morning person, but it's gotta, like, it kind of takes a different, I think the whole team is like built different because the fact that we have to wake up every single day, like I wake up at 4 a.m. most days of the week, and then go just like essentially do like 200 or more deadlifts in a boat, because that's how much you're pulling, and then just casually be like, okay, I'm done, and then go home and work on classes. And it's a lot of kind of just on the grind, especially like the preseason before like you're fully on the water. It's just a lot of grinding, especially with this whole situation with COVID, when we were on ergs every week, every day. The constant grind. Do you feel like, just because it can wear you down?
Definitely. Do you feel like everything, we kind of had a shift this year, do you feel like it had like an effect on your mentality or like your mental health?
You mean as far as like the focus during practice, or like our season getting canceled? Or
I guess just like how this year, we were constantly erging, we couldn't really be together as a team. I mean, well, I guess like True. We kind of lost a whole year last year, like everything combined. Do you feel like that affected your mentality?
Yeah. I think, well, initially, I mean, even during erging, when we were during that time of erging, like I had to take some time off because I was just having going through a tough time mentally.
Yeah.
Just because it's like, what is this all for? We don't even know if we're doing anything. Like, I'm overwhelmed.
I'm really glad that you like acknowledge that like you did need to take time off too, because I think like a lot of times people just in sports in general, like I think the general culture is that you just always keep going no matter what. And
Yeah.
a lot of people burn themselves into the ground doing that. So I think it's really good, like, knowing that when you need to take a break and take time off, because yeah, you can like avoid burnout by doing that. And see, now we're getting into the part of the season where we're racing and things are exciting, and I think like acknowledging or like taking time off can really help you get to that stage, get to the fun part. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's been a really big thing because it's like, especially with like how much we had to put in at the beginning this year, it's like it's a combo of not taking any day for granted, but then also balancing more so whatever issues you're having, whether that be mental or physical,
Yeah.
to try to save yourself the long run. Because like, for instance, like if you are in so much pain that you don't think you can handle a practice and you need to take a day off and rest, that's more necessary so that you can do the next week of practicing instead of that one.
Yeah.
And I don't think I had that mentality my freshman year. It was kind of just like, go ham, grind yourself into the ground, do every single practice, which I mean worked freshman year because I had less like issues back then. But now it's like I've got stuff I need to keep track of, and both mentally and physically. So it's like kind of having to balance it a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good mentality to have. I know I definitely, when I started freshman year, I went into it just trying to commit to everything, like rowing and all these orgs and all this stuff, and things really piled on, and then all of a sudden I was extremely burned out and like had no motivation. So I think like one thing that a lot of people learn in college is managing, like understanding how much like energy and time there is in a day, and understanding when to kind of let things go and prioritizing mental health. So yeah, that's so great. I think we really should like end the stigma around like taking time off and like really caring for ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, was there ever a time where you wanted to quit or you considered quitting rowing?
Yeah, I did have again, like with this year, with people like being able to opt out, I was seriously considering just like dropping rowing, dropping RA, and just going home and trying to get through my classes. But I think one of the things is that I think it was kind of when I had to take that time off mentally. But I think one of the things that I realized is that without rowing, I actually was more anxious and unhappy because it's such a release for me. I feel like everyone needs to find in some form, whether that be like video games or drawing or running or something, they need to find something for that mental release. And I think like rowing was that for me. I didn't like my entire college career, it's been rowing and RA. So without rowing, all I have is RA, which is working with people, but it's a lot of administrative stuff and it's a lot of stress and pressure that rowing doesn't have as much. And so I think the one time I thought about quitting, I realized it was like after I took a couple of days off, I was like, I cannot handle without this. I can't cope.
That's interesting.
Yeah. it was a good realization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're graduating after this year, so
Yes.
I think when you're not on this team anymore, what do you think is going to be that thing for you, that like kind of release, or like that place where you can kind of shut your brain off?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I actually hope to try and find, wherever I end up living, I want to try and find a rowing club. Um, my family has an erg, so I think like I probably will continue to kind of turn towards athletics and stuff.
Yeah.
I had a stint of like weightlifting training for a while, and I was like, maybe I'll go back to that and try that out. My significant other, he actually does mountain bike riding, so he wants to get me into that too. So I think essentially, I know it's nothing super fancy, but I think I'm just gonna stick with what I know works and try to continue that kind of having a physical and mental release, something that I can just zone out, focus in on, and then just go do it.
Okay.
Yeah, and it'll probably be more of a variety though. Hopefully.
Cool.
Once I graduate. So.
It's always been my opinion. Well, no, actually, it's not an opinion. It's actually a fact that women who do mountain biking are the coolest people alive. So.
Really?
Yeah, it's 100% a fact.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, you're one of the only people I know who does acupuncture.
Yeah.
And you've been like just a huge like, I guess like person who loves acupuncture and really recommends it. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, everyone like gets afraid of it, and I'm like, please no. It feels really
scary.
Weird, and it hurts a little bit, but it's actually really good. So yeah, I started doing acupuncture at UCSD, not like doing it, but getting it done to me.
Yeah.
I started getting it done at UCSD because they had like a side thing, and I had like a neck issue that was not being fixed by our physical therapist, Liam, or anything. So I was like, all right, I gotta try something. Tried it, and it actually was able to release it. So I was like, okay, sure. And then since COVID started, I have been actually coming back home to get acupuncture from the acupuncturist that my family uses, and she's really, really skilled, and she knows kind of where to focus on it. Some acupuncturists are like energy and chi, and it's like I don't really do that, but it's more trigger points. Okay. So like she'll feel around my shoulder and neck and be like, oh, your shoulder hurts because this part of your neck is really tight. And yeah, so like for instance, for a while I was having pain in the front part of my shoulder, and it was because the ligaments and stuff in like my neck right at my collarbone were insanely tight. They were, she described them like a piano string, and I was like, oh, that's not good. And she's like, yeah, it's really not good.
Wow.
So yeah, I think acupuncture is a really, really good resource if you have, it depends on what you need. If it's like just generic muscle soreness, it can help, but it really, really is effective, at least from what I've found, for kind of deep set, hard to reach things, or if you're prone to having like locked up muscles or really tight like tendons and stuff, it's really helpful.
Wow.
And yeah, it's kind of a weird feeling. If you have a really good therapist or like a really good acupuncturist, it'll hurt initially, and usually like depending on the area, it will hurt a lot, and then she'll let it sit, and then it'll kind of just ache, and then it'll relax.
Wow.
And then other times she'll put, and then she'll take it out, and then other times she'll just put it in the muscle and just let it sit for a while to kind of release the tension in the muscle.
Interesting.
Yeah, it kind of depends. It's essentially what you would be doing with like a muscle, like your quad, for instance, rolling it out, except it's with a needle, and it's a really specific point in whatever thing you're reaching.
Wow.
So yeah, she'll usually go until like the muscle or whatever it's connected to like jumps is what we use. Essentially, like you'll feel it like kind of fire.
Yeah.
And then it'll start relaxing. Yeah. And it's it's hard to make it sound not bad, but like you'll get it done, and then my acupuncturist is like, yeah, I just finished your shoulder. Don't lift anything over 30 pounds for like a few hours and you'll be fine. Because it's just your muscles and everything resetting. And it's like, it's a weird experience. Like it'll hurt. It'll ache and kind of hurt after, but like within 2 or 3 hours, it's like, oh, this is actually like my entire shoulders like loosen up again.
Wow.
So yeah, I always like, I mean, unless if you're afraid of like needles or something, or you have hang-ups, or you don't like, if you have something else that's working, I mean, you don't have to. But I think if you have something that you think would be helped by it, it's always worth trying it out. Or like, I think acupuncture would be really helpful for generally tense people, because there's a lot of stuff in your neck and shoulders that you can't easily get to relax.
Yeah. And
that's what's helped me a lot as far as that, and I'm a very tense person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it just depends on what your needs are and kind of what you're willing to try. Yeah, I'm like, if you haven't noticed, I'm very crazy about it, and I will talk about it and I'll answer questions. I don't know a ton about it, but it's worked awesome for me.
That's so great. I'm so happy. I feel like when people find what really works for them, it's so amazing. So I'm so glad that it's been so great for you. Yeah. Okay, another thing I wanted to ask you about was one day, so we were kind of coming in from practice, and we were pulling up launches, and all of a sudden this woman starts rowing by and she starts shouting, Teresa, Teresa. And I was like, who is that? Like, and why does she want Teresa's attention? And then I realized, oh my gosh, that's her mom. And so it seems like your mom knows how to row. So tell me, how did your mom get into rowing?
That you and the rest of like the older people in the team know, like when we had practice my freshman year, she would come and watch, and she convinced Colin to give her a ride on the launch once or twice, and like she was always really into it. And kind of after I talked to her about it constantly, because she's the only person that would listen to me talk about rowing for like 2 hours and be like, cool, good to know. But once she kind of learned more and more about it, she wanted to try. So she actually ended up getting like private lessons. After that, she just kind of kept going with it. She told me like 3 or 4 times, she's like, I'm not doing rowing because of you. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. And I'm like, that's fine. That's so funny. That's great. I'm really happy for you. But yeah, because she's also like a water person, and she actually had like a kind of an interesting shift in her life recently, because she's improving her health, improving her diet, and kind of getting more into working out again, and she's like, I no longer have to worry about being a mom as much, and I can worry about actually taking care of like myself. So she's kind of just started to do rowing as something that, like me, is kind of a release and kind of just enjoyable, and it's a good workout. So yeah, it's great. And so I would send her videos from like practice, like the training videos, because I'm like, oh, this is such a good video, I want to share it. So I'd send like her and my grandma a link. And then I'd come home, and then she'd talk to me, and she'd be like, yeah, so I think I saw you rushing into the catch, and da, da, da. And I'm like, Mom, no, we're not talking about technique right now. Oh my god. Just say I did good. Yeah, but she's really she's trying to get into it and improve her skills and stuff. I love that. Yeah, she'll send me like erg scores from when she does like a workout, and I'll be like, this is good, you need to like be more consistent with your rate. And she's like, okay. And Coach
Teresa. You're a coach now.
I'm trying my best.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Would you ever row a double with her?
She has talked about it quite a few times.
So she really wants you to.
Yeah, we may or may not. She may or may not have bought us twinsies unis from crew class last year.
Oh my gosh, what do they look like?
They're like actually pretty cool. They got like let me see if I can grab it. It's like black bottoms and then it's kind of a blue and orangey sunset kind of look.
Oh my gosh.
And then it's got like a boat on it.
The audio people don't get to see it, but
I'm sorry, audio people.
It's glorious.
Yeah, so like it's got all that, and then on the back it's got like the Crew Classic logo and all that.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I really like that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, my mom was like, I got us matching unis, and I'm like, what?
Wow. I am blown away. Those are so cute. You should wear it to practice sometime.
I should bring them, honestly. Yeah, they're sitting at my house right now.
Yeah.
I probably
Very
should.
fun.
Maybe I should.
Well,
maybe I'll bring them back home.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
I'll
two
bring
have
them.
to like sign up for a race together. Like, you have to, because you have the unis now.
Yeah. She keeps saying, she's like, I'm gonna beat you someday. I'm like, good try, but no. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, so here on the Crew Chats podcast, we wrap up our podcast with the Crew Chats countdown, which is some rapid fire questions. There's 10 of them. So I'll be asking you these 10 questions. So
Okay.
number 10, what is your favorite rowing memory?
Wrong memory. Oh gosh. Being neck and bow ball to bow ball with UCI, and then getting second at, I think it was the final of championships, and then us like saying good game after. That was kind of a cool experience.
Oh my gosh, at Weira, is that the race you're talking
Yes.
about? Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
yes. I feel like everyone I talk to from like my freshman year, they're like, yeah, Weira, that's my favorite rowing, because it was so amazing. So I think in future episodes, the listeners will hear a little more about Weira for favorite rowing memories. Number 9, favorite seat to row.
Favorite seat to row. Funny thing, I've only rowed like 2 seats, 3 and 5 seat, and I like 5 seat.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I'm usually like 3 or 5 seat in an 8, or
Okay.
I'm 3 seat
Okay.
in a.
Yeah, you're in the middle 4 a lot because you have a lot of power.
Yeah.
So definitely a middle 4.
Yeah.
Number 7. No,
Mhm.
sorry, number 8. Misconception about rowing that you'd like to debunk.
Misconception about rowing. That the coxswains say row every single time.
Oh my gosh.
That's not what they do. They're essentially like our brain.
Yes.
Like, people discount coxswains so much.
Yeah.
They're so skilled, and I'm like, wow, you're so smart. And I'm
I
just
know.
over here like, I row.
Literally just get
They're
the
very
oar in the
smart.
water. Yep.
Exactly. And I think I think a lot of people sort of know about rowing, but they don't know about coxswains, and they should
Yeah.
learn more about coxswains.
I didn't know a thing about what a coxswain was. I didn't even know how to pronounce it when I started. I was like, coxswain? what is that? What is that? Okay, number 7. What do you like to eat before practice?
Ooh, that's a good question, because I have the same thing every single morning.
Mm-hmm.
I have 3 eggs and occasionally a single pancake.
Oh.
Sometimes a pancake, because if I have batter, I'll make pancakes.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 eggs and a pancake. I intentionally wake up earlier than I need to cook eggs for
Wow.
myself.
Nice. So you like big full breakfast.
Oh yeah. I pretty much always I like to have a food in my stomach before
Oh,
practice.
definitely.
Usually.
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Number 5. I don't even know if I'm counting these right. I numbered them 1 through 10, but then I decided to count it 10 through 1. So I shouldn't have done this to myself. Okay, number 5. Favorite post-practice snack from the nutrition table.
Oh, okay. I usually will do, if they've got the Pirate's Booty, I'll get that,
Mm-hmm.
or I'll get the like Cars chocolate M&M and like nut trail mix.
Oh, the trail mix.
Yeah. And then from the like APU snack table though, if they have those Chobani like yogurt like bottles, I love those.
Those are so good.
10 out of 10.
Amazing. Okay, number 4, pre-race or erg test pump-up song.
Oh gosh, I think it's like the generic pump up song,
Uh-huh.
like the one that we heard like a billion times last year. It was like "You Can't Stop Me" or something.
That
I
song.
I I listened to that. I have a playlist on my phone on my Spotify that's called "I Wanna Fight," and that's my playlist for Urge.
I love that. Yeah, get yourself in the right mindset.
Yeah,
Okay, 6K or 2K?
2K
Mm.
always. 2K is pain, but it's
Mm-hmm.
short, so it's like I'll die, but I'll be done in 7 minutes or seven
Yes.
or like 7:30, and it's just like
Yes.
easy. 6K is a lot more
Pain.
grinding through it,
Yeah.
and I have a short attention span, so
Yeah, definitely. Fours or eights?
uh, I think I haven't been in a four much until this year,
Okay.
but I do actually enjoy a four.
Mm-hmm.
I think I enjoy the power of an eight, but I enjoy the finesse of a four. So it's
Mm.
kind of a hard answer.
Um, okay, what is one thing that you would say to someone interested in trying rowing?
It's a lot of it's a lot more mental than you're gonna think it should be.
Mm.
It's a lot of kind of having a conversation with yourself, being honest with yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of developing that strength mentally. And like if you're strong mentally, you can handle pretty much anything wrong throws at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a lot more just how you handle yourself and how you carry yourself in a boat, on an erg. And I think a lot of people like don't realize that until they're in the sport,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm being honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I realized how mentally challenging it would be. I didn't
Yeah.
I didn't really understand how much of an endurance sport it was either. So yeah, having
Oh
that
yeah.
mentality is so crucial to the sport.
Yeah.
Okay, and my last question for you is what is one thing that you recommend this week? It can be literally anything, doesn't have to be sport related, just something that you've loved this week.
Something that I love this week. Oh boy. Let's see. Oh, I have. Are you able to attach like links to
Yes.
like at the end of a podcast
Yeah,
and
we
stuff?
can do links, pictures, whatever.
Awesome. Okay. I have so as I that the previously mentioned pancakes,
Mhm.
it's a recipe I have that's some people like it. I like it. My
Mhm.
parents don't like it. They think it's weird. But it's like it's really good and it's low sugar
Mhm.
and it's like low carb
Mhm.
and it's like two bananas, two eggs, baking
Oh.
soda, maple syrup, honey, and then I add chocolate chips too.
Uh-huh.
And what's weird is it was originally a muffin recipe. So the link that
Oh.
I'm going to send you is for a muffin recipe, but you can 100% take the batter and it'll store for like 4 or 5 days. It works
Uh-huh.
perfectly fine. You
Yeah.
can cook it from cold or hot,
Uh-huh.
and it makes like really good pancakes.
Wow.
And they look dark because of the maple syrup, but
Uh-huh.
they like are super easy to cook. It's like
Uh-huh.
almost foolproof. It's awesome.
What gave you the inspiration to try it as a pancake?
I think I was making the recipe because I wanted to try it. And then I realized that I didn't have. First of all, I underestimated how much batter I would have
Oh, okay.
because I decided I don't have a muffin tin,
Uh-huh.
so I decided to make like I took like a ramekin and I made like just a thick muffin,
Uh-huh.
essentially a cake. I just made a cake,
Yeah.
but I still had like half of a blender of like the like oh gosh, what is it called? The batter.
Mhm.
I was like, I mean, this looks like pancake batter.
Mhm.
It smells like pancake batter. It tastes like pancake batter. Let's just try it as pancakes. And I
Oh my
winged it, and I was
gosh.
like, oh, this is 10 times better
Oh my gosh,
than the
culinary genius.
yes, big brain, massive brain. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, and it's kind of like it's not like a classic pancake taste, but it
Mhm.
tastes at least good to me. I don't know. You
Okay.
should have
I'm gonna
people
try
listening
it.
to this and people watching this try it out. And if you don't like it, I guess I'm just crazy.
I'm also gonna give a recommendation, a food rec. I made banana bread this week. I had way too many bananas in my freezer. And then also another one of our teammates, Haley, brought us banana bread, I think this week. And so I've been having a lot of banana bread lately, and it's been a delicious pre-practice breakfast. So I would recommend making banana bread this week. I can also link the recipe that I used. It turned out okay. Mine wasn't that great, so maybe don't use the recipe. I don't know. But thank you so much to our guest, Teresa Taylor. I'm so glad to have interviewed you today. Do you have anything that you want to plug, like social medias, projects, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, my social media is public. I'm just what is it? TN Taylor 007.
Okay.
I'm like a senior citizen. I can't remember what my name is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, okay. Well, thank you so much. This has been Crew Chats with Jen, signing off.